Yo, Robin Sakifio. Yes. We got Stace Force in the house. Yeah. Yo, job. I see you, Gio. I see you, John. This music is Lou's Yo Job. And it's on Spotify where everything else is. Yeah, DJ Tunde in the house. Ooh, it's already hot. I'm gonna warn you right now, I'm gonna get sweaty because I'm in a fire zone here in LA. Oops. So yeah, inelegantly fading that out because that's gonna distract me. I'm doing an experiment right now and I'm trying to lean a little back. I'm trying to keep things more relaxed. What if I do like this? You like this side? Do you like this side? I don't even know. So what's good, y'all? I'm Baratunde Thurston. This is Live on Lockdown, episode 37. And hit me up. Well, obviously you can hear me. I see you, Daniel Zoller. You need to type out some updates for the homies. So yo, let me try that again. I'm Baratunde. This is Live on Lockdown, episode 37. And I generally have made these shows on Sundays in Zoom and Thursday nights on IG. The Zoom show has been preempted by a production I'm making of a new podcast called How to Citizen with Baratunde. I strongly urge you to subscribe to that podcast because it's dope. Like, it's for real. Like, I'm not trying to, but it's going to be very good. We drop the full episodes starting next week. But even the trailer's kind of hot. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can check that trailer right now. I'd even say I'm just going to jimmer jammer here for a minute. So leave the stream, check out the trailer, come back, tell me what you think. So normally that's the cadence. The cadence, I'm so fancy. It's the cadence of the show. That's why I drink out of a fancy ass glass. Happy Whiskey Friday. And that brings me to, why are we doing Live on Lockdown on a Friday at 1600 hours Pacific, when first of all, you told everybody on the internet this is going to be 3:30 p.m., 15:30 Pacific. So what's up with the CP time? And to that, I say, Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. And I can show up late to my own show when I want to. You should be honored by my lateness, to quote someone who I used to pay attention to. So on the more realistic front, I couldn't do the show last night because I wanted to give my man, Uncle Joe Biden, some space, some breathing room to make his case. Because, there's people out there in this country like, I don't know, I want to see a side-by-side comparison. I want to understand what's going on with the candidate options I got. What's Lyndon LaRouche up to? Where's the Green Party at? What's your stance on, like the number of federal holidays in the year, or like the top marginal tax bracket? Like, I'm just really interested to find out what you think. And so I wanted to give, Joe a chance to make his case for all those people who can't see what's right in front of our eyes, that it doesn't fucking matter. Like, it doesn't matter. So here's what I got to do. I need to give a quick alert to some folks. And right now, I'm going to leave a typo in it. Instagram.com/Baratunde, or on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and the other one, and Facebook. Great. All right. So now it's just me and you again. I had to send a little quick message. So yeah, I gave Joe some space, is my point. I gave Joe some space for the folks who needed more evidence and more information. And I didn't want to compete with Joe Biden. Because if I had done my show last night, I'd have peeled off a good 5, 10, maybe 20 people. who might have been watching Joe, and he needs everybody. Like, he needs everybody. So here's what we're going to do. I normally run the show solely on Instagram Live. Right now, I'm experimenting with making my life more difficult. So we're streaming this on IG Live. I love you. You're special. You're my only people. You're my only ones. But also, I've got Facebook and Twitch and YouTube and Periscope, aka Jack Dorsey Side Project. So if you want me to hit on a topic from IG people, hit that question mark and it'll hit the little basket in the queue down there. For everybody else, just throw a comment up and I will try. And then what I always like to start with is just some recognition of who's in the room. So I see you, Little Skater, my folks in Japan. I've got friends in Japan who I haven't seen because I don't leave the country anymore, because I don't leave the county anymore, because somebody running the federal government decided not to take shit serious. So hello, Japan. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. I already gave a shout out to homegirl Robin Sakifio. I feel like you're Dr. Sakifio now, probably. Good to see you. And yeah, I'm scrolling through what Gio's saying a lot. See me too. I see, Ramanzani Haruna on the Book of Faces. Ramanzani Haruna. I hope I'm saying your name right. It makes me want to be like, Your Highness. Ramanzani Haruna. I literally cannot say your name with like a normal tone. I can say my name, Baratunde, and then I see Ramanzani Haruna. So that gets to the first game I like to play. My favorite name in the audience, clearly this evening or morning, wherever you are, the earth is big. The winner is Ramanzani Haruna. That's a dope name. I think it's not even like a username. I think it's just like an actual name. So well done, Ramanzani Haruna on Facebook. Aguda Daniel. Yes, my name does look like it's from Nigeria because it is. My name is imported, but we didn't pay the tariffs and didn't pass through the official customs. So the name got modified on the import process. And there was a slight modification. My bad, Holmes. So it's based on the name Babatunde. I'm Baratunde. I apologize, but also I don't, because it's my name and I didn't choose it, but I kind of love it. So thank you for recognizing the mostly origins of my name and not giving me like a essay length comment about how it's wrong. Appreciate you. Oh, we got the Bronx in the house. Gustavo Rivera is in the house. Yo, I did an IG Live with Gustavo a while back, and he talked about Crisis Daddy Cuomo. Oh man, we got to catch up, Gustavo, on IG, but also just like me and you. Things are happening. All right, who else we got up in here? Sophie G, Billy Springer. Oh man, folks are tuning in on multiple channels. That's amazing. Hello, Lindsay Dowell. And you know who I'm looking for. Vicky Velcro, I see you. I like my regulars. Caduce is in the house. I warned y'all about the sweat that's coming. Caduce posted something really, bring y'all a little closer to me. Caduce posted something very interesting on his IG, QUDDUS. And, you know, this dude used to be up on MTV, being the MC, the host with the most, got to flex and spend time with all these like amazing musical talents. And one of them being Kanye West. And I think Caduce offered a take on Kanye, which was, you know, a lot of people like to look at the brother and blame him and be like, what's wrong with you? Why you hate yourself? Why you hate black people? What's ill? And then there's a whole nother group of people who just like lay into mental health and try to diagnose from a distance, which is somewhat maybe accurate, but also impossible to be accurate. And so what Caduce did, which I mostly appreciate, is he made it about himself in a thoughtful sense, which he's like, I got to see up close our celebrity culture and how we make, like, we shouldn't even be in a position where somebody like a Kanye West thinks he should run for president and then like files papers in any state. Like not even one state, not British Virgin Islands, not nothing. Like there should be no world where that happens. And so he kind of owned his part in helping create the culture that led to not just a Kanye, but also the 45th president. So shout out to QUDDUS for showing up in the live. Appreciate you, homie. All right, so I see y'all are throwing some questions up, and I think the next thing I'll talk about before I get into some of the things I want to get off my head. Eve Blossom is here. Yes, Eve is a Live on Lockdown regular. Love to you, Eve. Eve reports in lots going on here in the Bay Area. Fires are another unprecedented event. Size of the fires the largest 7th and 10th in our state's history. So yeah, I guess I'll start there. If you're experiencing any of these fires, be safe. Maybe, if this stream is like something you should be doing, do it. If it's not, like, I'm totally cool if like you don't add to like the data dossier of the major tech oligarchs right now and just like handle your business. And yes, I saw a number this week that at this point in the year, California last year have reported 4,000 fires, not at the same time, but like cumulatively. Cumulative. Today's show brought to you by the word cumulative, because I just like saying it. Anyway, 4,000 cumulative by this point. Last year, now it's 7,000. And so climate change is real. Also, prison labor is real. And maybe the great republic in which I now reside shouldn't depend on life-saving services from people who don't have the freedom to choose to engage in said life-saving service. I'm new here. I did not realize the prison colony nature. I was in New York City and I was like, New York is a prison colony. Look at Rikers Island. Look at these laws, the Rockefeller drug laws. This is whack. The voting system in New York State is whack. You think you're so progressive? I'm going west of the mountains. I'm going to get to the Rockies and keep climbing. I'm going to the great state of California, where everybody gets a green juice as soon as they step off the boat, the train, or the plane. And they're like, also, prisoners keep us safe from forests. I was like, what the fuck? What are you doing? Why is that a thing? My woman, Elizabeth, she told me that. I'm like, you're crazy. Your state is crazy. Why you ain't telling me this before we moved? Like, I might have had stronger objections to co-signing my tax dollars and my residential status. I still got my New York State driver's license, though. So, if things don't work out here, I will be back. And I heard the real estate prices are collapsing in New York because all the people who didn't need to be there in the first place have speculated themselves out into like the Hamptons or Woodstock or whatever. So that was a very long-winded way of saying I wish you safety in these fires, take them seriously, and then let's maybe change the situation where we have people who probably shouldn't even be in prison doing a job they probably shouldn't even be. Like, what if you had a surgery and like, we got to get your gallbladder out. If we don't get it out, your whole body's going to explode. Like that in that show Heroes with the character that could explode, it'd be like that, but just your gallbladder. You have a hole in the middle of your body. So, but the good news is we got a surgeon for you. Now, the complicating factor is that surgeon is actually not a free person, can't vote, is a prisoner of the state on some 3 strikes bullshit from back in the day. But besides that, totally ready to save your life. Just sign this paperwork. You'd probably be like, what is wrong with you? So Gavin Newsom, you've been acquitting yourself somewhat decently. Not as good as some other governors because you kind of dropped the ball on the COVID. But, let's maybe work with the Assembly and the state Senate and just stop that. That's dumb. I have no patience for anything right now. So I'm not going to pull any punches. It is inhumane and monstrous and stupid to have life-saving services empowered by conscripted labor. That's the type of stuff we put sanctions on other nations over. That's where we give high and mighty speeches in the UN about China and North Korea and whatnot. So get back on your moral high ground, America, California. Fix that. Thank you, Eve. Eve gave me an excuse to rant about prison labor. I'll love you forever for that. Okay, so let's see. Who else we got going here? Okay, I'm checking out these questions in the basket of IG. Okay, let's start from the end. It's so funny. I have known you for like 20 years, 15 years, Littlest Gator, Littlest Gator. Oh, I just answered my own question. I'm like, I don't know how to say your name. Is it Little Street Gator? Hi, I'm Baratunde, and I'm an idiot. I have a degree from Ivy League University and have published a book and given a super dope TED Talk, but sometimes I can't read. And people who I've known for 15 years, I don't know how to say their usernames. So that was to my homegirl in Japan who asked what I thought about Biden's speech. So let's just get into the Democratic National Zoom gathering from this week. Happy Whiskey Friday, everybody. Cheers. This is I don't even know what it is. It's it is a COVID drink and one I've definitely earned this week. I also realized I was like yelling at you, so let me just like bring it down a notch. Um, I wanted to accomplish a couple things in the show. I wanted to tell you about my new podcast, How to Citizen with Baratunde. You can find out more, baratunde.com/how to citizen. I'll go to my YouTube, check out the trailer. The big thing there, subscribe, please. If you're watching this, you're clearly invested in the weird stuff I do. And so hit that subscribe button wherever. I don't even care. Well, I'm going to drive you into the arms of some billionaire, whether it's like the Apple Corporation that's like worth $2 trillion, or the Google Corporation, or like whatever Spotify is. But pick your least offensive place to store your data and hit subscribe on How to Citizen with Baratunde, because that is a show that I have been wanting to make for many years. It's one I've been wanting to watch my whole life, that doesn't just scream into the ether about how everything is horrible and broken in the world, but instead focuses on people doing the work of being citizens, irrespective of documentation status. This is not a legal status check. This is a participation check. To citizen is a way of being. It's a verb, and it's open to everybody. And so I wanted to make a show where we showcased people doing that, flexing that power beyond the power of voting, which is essential, very important, and many other things that we can do to determine the outcomes in our society for the benefit of all of us, not just a few. So that's like the basic premise of the show. I do monologues. We have guests. We give you actions, like stuff you can do. And besides watch me, which I love you watching me, but I'd rather you take like 20% of the energy watching me and shift it into doing stuff in your neighborhoods, in your companies, in your churches, in your communities, in your bunkers, like whatever, however you roll. So that's the show. It's action. It's inspiring. It's something that should make you feel better after. And it's called How to Citizen with Baratunde. We're distributing it through iHeart, producing it with them. And it's exciting. And I'm making it with my woman, which is pretty dope. She's like an executive producer on the thing. But that's a conversation for another time. Shout out to Elizabeth. So I wanted to accomplish that. Mission accomplished. Check out the show. And then I need to talk about the DNC. You know, sometimes like I see your question, but then I got to say what I got to say. And you can't stop me because Black Lives Matter. Joe Biden, I think, how do I want to address this? I voted for Bernie Sanders. Let me start there. I voted for Bernie Sanders in the California primary. In New York primary in 2016, I voted for Hillary because I wasn't quite feeling the burn. And those Bernie bros like aggravated me so much. I was like, if this is what you're about, I'm not down with it. And then I came around and I listened to the young people even more. And I was like, yo, and I saw Bernie live in a small group joint in Venice. Of course, it was Venice. Where else would it be? And I was like, this homie, this is it. Like, you're the grandpa. Like, I just thought he was the right person with the right ideas for this right time in history. And so I'm proud of that vote. I stand by that vote. If I had to do it again, I would still vote Bernie. And so you should know where I'm coming from on that, because I feel like we had no time. This is before COVID. It was like one day before COVID. And given everything that we knew was already happening with climate, with race, with this so-called economy, he just felt like a person who saw clearly the opportunity we had to set things right and try to be the democracy we're supposed to be. So respect to Bernie Sanders. And it was honestly like deep cut way back years ago, a young unknown person, a bartender in Manhattan who I knew, named Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who put me on to Bernie back in 2016. She was like really trying to get me to vote for Bernie. I'm like, that's cool. That's cool, young one. I think Hillary Clinton is repaired. So again, a longer story for a different time. And then obviously she ran and she won. And some of y'all may have even met her at a Whiskey Friday back in New York. Show up in the comments if that was you, if you met her at Building on Bond, you know what I'm saying, in Brooklyn. So I was a Bernie person. I'm still a Bernie person. And I think that's important for you to understand contextually. This show brought to you by the word contextually. Previously, the word was cumulative, but we're moving through the C's into other areas, and I'm still trying to flex on my education. Contextually, it makes you sound fancy. So yeah, I did not feel Joe Biden in this primary. I wrote homie off. I was like, here we go again. Commander Gaffathon, not the right time. Like if I'm going to vote for a 70-something-year-old, let it be Bernie. But I knew I was going to vote for the Democrat who earned the nomination because I am politically sane. And like if we have voted for like this glass of whatever it is to be the Democratic nominee, I'd be like, yo, this glass represents the American people. This glass contains multitude. It is able to hold space for us. It keeps things cool yet slightly elevated. This glass lets the circle be unbroken between the multiple communities that exist in this once great nation of ours. And with this glass, we will restore that beloved community of America. And I would raise a glass to this glass and I would vote this glass 2020. So let's not get it twisted. I will vote for whoever. But my level of enthusiasm would fluctuate. And so I came into this political season being like, Bernie, not or bust, just Bernie first. And Biden, probably not, because he's never going to make it out the primaries. Like, why? Kamala fell strong early on, and then she decided to run like the worst presidential campaign, I think, and get 0 votes, which is kind of awkward. Loved Warren, because she had a plan for her plans. Like, she had plans for her plans. She's like, but what's your plan for your plan? She's like, I got that too. Go to elizabethwarren.com/plan/plan. And I was just like, yo, she did the pre-assigned reading and then some. That's pretty exciting. So I was like, I was looking forward to like a president who knew stuff. That was pretty cool, and I took the job seriously. And you know, I'm not going to go down the whole list. We are where we are. And with Biden, I have felt that he had a core and a soul that I could be fine with. I did not feel like he had the policies that we required to dig ourselves out of the multiple holes we are in. And then some things happened. He huddled with my boy Bernie, and they hashed out a vast improvement to his policies on climate, on criminal justice. They had these like working groups, and it was called the Biden-Bernie Task Force, and or Biden-Sanders, I don't know. It was those two. And so they came out better and stronger and faster, like a Daft Punk song. Like we all should, you know, come out of a task force, more Daft Punk-ish. And I was like, okay, so he's dusted off some of these things. And one of the things that I did recognize about his candidacy early on when he launched his campaign, I still remember his first video, and he talked about Charlottesville. And he talked about this battle for the soul of the country. And I was like, that's true. Whether he should be the lead warrior, I don't know, but he grabbed the moment. He articulated that very well. So I was like, all right, I can mess with you, Joe Biden. All that's to say, I thought his speech last night was by far the best Joe Biden speech I've ever seen. And a very, very, very good speech for insert name here politician. Like, I think he did as well as he could ever have done. I think this is like his personal best. And we need that. He gave us Jedi shit. Joe Biden was like, this is light versus dark. And I don't take that racially, by the way. And some people are like, why's it gotta be dark? Like, we're in a battle. Like, he didn't say black, he said dark. Like, shadows aren't racists, you know what I'm saying? So I think he channeled that so well. He wanted to provide hope and light and love. And I felt his humanity come through. I felt that I was watching a human being who has been on this earth 77 years, who has been discounted many times because of the town he's from and the college he didn't go to, who's tried several times to become the president and failed, who served the first black president very ably, and who deeply loves this country. Way more than I do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got love for America, obviously. But like, Joe Biden's got like extra. You know, like he's willing to suffer slings and arrows for this place. And I thought he put his heart out there. And it wasn't a series of plans. And it wasn't all the things I'm going to do for you. This is who I am. This is what I see. This is where we are. And this is what we can be. And I was moved. I was moved by the introduction to him because earlier this year, I read the most, I think, important piece of writing about Joe Biden that I had ever read. I blogged about Joe back when he ran against Obama, called him articulate and nice and clean, and I clowned him for that because that was a stupid thing to say. And his, abuse of Anita Hill is not something that still sits well with me. This allegation that sits out there about him does not sit well with me either. I want to acknowledge that. But there have been multiple investigations and no seconding. And in the choice that we have, there is no contest between this one and the documented assaulter serially who occupies the White House now. So the piece I read about Joe Biden this year that moved me the most was about his stutter. I had no idea that he grew up with a stutter. I had no idea that he had suffered with it, that he had fought against it, that he had been ashamed of it, and that it explains a lot of what the press likes to go in on. Oh, there goes crazy Uncle Joe Biden, the gaffe machine. And it made him a person again. We can make these politicians with a capital P. And we, the people, can dehumanize them with all these politicians and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, most of them are people. Ted Cruz is not a person, but most of them are people, are real human people with souls inside of them. Again, not Ted Cruz, but most of the others. And Joe Biden in that piece, which he interviewed for reluctantly, came across as the most empathetic, real person. And in the video that they used to set him up last night, they talked about this little kid, Braden, who he reached out to coach on stuttering. And I cried. I cry a lot this summer. There's a lot going on. But still, I'm moved thinking about it right now. His family, Jill Biden rocked it the other night. She rocked it. I was like, she'll make an amazing first lady. Also, not to make it about her appearance, but how does she look so good? She and Michelle, Barack talks about Joe as his brother. But I'm like, Jill and Michelle are clearly sisters from another mister. Because I know black don't crack, but whatever Jill is made of don't crack either. And there's no rhyme for it. So what do you do with that? And her talk and her career and the fact that she maintained teaching at a community college while being second lady? Come on now. The fact that Joe Biden still reads Arrive magazine on Amtrak and knows the conductors, he sees us. He sees the humanity in all of us. And I do not care about his marginal tax policy. Doesn't matter. In this battle between a Sith Lord and a Jedi, I'm going Jedi all the way. He proved himself to be worthy of wielding that lightsaber. And it was very powerful. It was very impressive to me. And everything that he exhibited, his grandchildren showing up on camera talking about how he calls us every day. The tributes to his son, Beau, and his dead wife and daughter from the first marriage so long ago. The losses, the humanity, the calling. Here's what I'm getting to. His entire biography, his life, the way he has shown up, not just for himself, but in the lives of other people, and the way they shown up for him, it is the 180-degree opposite of the current president. I want you to imagine anybody in the family of the current president showing up. And you think this president calls his grandkids every day? Do you think he knows the names of the conductors on the trains he takes You think he takes trains? Joe Biden went to the funeral at a synagogue and sat Shiva for a woman who gave him $18 in his campaign. The current president, when his own brother died last week, here's what he could say about his dead brother. He said really nice things about me. He was never jealous. He backed me 100%. You see that? Even in matters small and personal and familial, the current president makes everything about himself. We are all merely a reflection of him. We exist merely to serve him. And so many of us are dead because we had no use to him. Joe Biden is not that. He is the antithesis of that. He is the light relative to this dark Sith Lord. I thought he knocked it out the park last night. I felt it, I cried, and I saw a human being again. I was like, oh, that's what that feels like. That's what it feels like to have an actual soul-bearing human being seek higher office. Yeah, he messed up in his past with his criminal justice plans and the 94 crime bill. Yeah, he said dumb stuff last week about how non-diverse the black community is, and if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. That's stupid. That's nonsense. I do not like that at all. But I will take that over the amoral, completely self-absorbed, maniacal, monstrous, mayhemic person who occupies the White House right now. Hands down. And then the rest of the week, we got to see the squad. Come on now. I'm looking forward to Kerry Washington being secretary, whatever she wants. Tracy Ellis Ross, undersecretary, whatever she wants. Sally Yates, just write yourself a job, Sally Yates. You got this. I don't, as long as I get to vote for you, like, do it. Everybody. Julia Louis-Dreyfus, are you kidding me? Come on now. Like, everybody murdered. Well, not everybody. Not everybody. I'm doing a lot of cheerleading right now. I'm trying to make stakes clear. Everything I shared, I do believe, but Tom Perez don't do nothing for me. Nothing. I'm like, every time you're on that screen, you make me not want to engage in democracy. I don't know what it is. Maybe that's unfair. Maybe it's just me. You let me know. But I'm just like, why are we looking at Beaker with glasses and no hair right now? Making not sense. And, that was a cheap shot, but I'll give you a substantive critique of Tom Perez. Our former president, this homie right here, Barack Obama, came out here, dusted off the mic that I've been mad that he hasn't used, slowly lifted it on like hydraulics. He's like, this is the mic. This is the mic. I'm lifting the mic. I'm lifting the mic. And then he didn't drop the mic. He teleported and the mic fell. That's what Obama did. He said everything I've been wanting this dude to say for 4 years. For 4 years, I'm like, where are you? What's going on? Show up. Be with us. Ride with us. Stop acting like everything's normal. And Barack Obama came with it. Finally. Maybe he was saving his powder, as they say. Maybe his batteries, waiting for his battery for maximum charge so he could do a full deployment. And I thought he laid it out. The stakes. This democracy is not guaranteed. Stood in front of the competition. Make it unsubtle for people who don't really get what's at stake. If you don't get it, it's right there behind me. I'm into black stuff. If you don't get it, there's a big black fist behind me, unsubtle. So I really like what Obama did there. And I like this whole week. But I say all that to get back to Tom Perez. Because so many people this week made such solid cases that we are not in normal times, that this is existential, that this truly is about the survival, not just the health, the survival of our democracy, I'm like, good. And let's get the Senate too, or none of this matters as much as it should. Everybody did a pretty good job with that, except Tom Perez. Last night, Tom Perez, first of all, he showed up on my screen. Like, why am I looking at you? What Wonder Woman is going to be the MC tonight? Because we had such great people for the first 3 nights. And then Tom Perez opened up on night 4, and I was like, did you just write yourself in because you're the DNC chair? Like, What happened to competitive bidding? This feels like a no contract bid. Like, isn't that illegal in government service? I want to see like some specs. Did you submit an RFP? Did you audition even? So I was like, Tom Perez just like, it's very corny. But again, I'm being unfair. So let me be substantive. What Tom Perez said that I thought was counterproductive was he spoke to the middle. And he's like, and if you haven't made your mind up, we want you to take a look at our candidates and look at the other candidates and compare their policies and see, what works best for you. We are not in that moment. As I said at the top of this show, if you joined late, what's up? I'm Baratunde. This is Live on Lockdown, a special edition episode 37. We are not in a compare and contrast on policy positions in this election. This is light versus dark. This is actually good versus evil. This is democracy versus authoritarianism at a minimum. And so your tax policy and your plan for whatever department, I don't care. I don't care your stance on the F-15 fighter, the F-30. Nope, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. I care if when a hostile foreign government takes out bounties on our service members, I care if you do something about it. That's all you have to say. One candidate did nothing. The other says he won't tolerate it. So that's the election. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't have to waste a whole bunch of time. I think those are many of my thoughts on the DNC. I'm going to give a shout out to the delegation check-in. North Carolina rocked it. I'm going to give a shout out to Braden, the kid with the stutter, because that was one of the bravest and most beautiful things I saw. And he broke me over, and there was all kinds of waterworks on that score. And I want to give a shout out to the producers of the event this week, because I thought it was better than the convention I physically attended in 2016 and 2008 and 2012 and 2004. I'm old. And it was just focused. We didn't have to worry about crazy hats and whatnot. We got people in front of their crazy backdrops. The Ohio delegation could have done a little bit. They just showed up with they taped their roll call and then they did their athletic reel to submit for college football season. That didn't excite me too much. So yes, it was a very focused, a showcase of non-token diversity, just a showcase of the United States of America. And in particular, and I think I'll close out my DNC review and get back to your questions because I've been running for a minute without checking in with you. I appreciate the consistent references to the indigenous peoples of this land. And to see so many folks from New Mexico, Montana, Hawaii, Missouri, there were so many places checking in with the indigenous origins of the people who occupied that land, with the nation, with discussion of honoring treaties, which we just blow over. There are nations within our nation, and we just pretend that they're not there. And there's a great decision out of Oklahoma recently, restoring in part some integrity to these little documents we signed, to these contracts. That's a treaty is a contract. And we owe it not just to the indigenous communities, but to ourselves to honor those papers. So I think the Democratic Party did a better job than I'm used to seeing with showing all of its colors. Adi Barkin, I could go on. So let me just pause for a minute. I'm gonna give a little station break, take a little sip, check in with your comments and questions, and make sure I don't run too far away from you. All right, what do we got here? Oh, yeah. I did that. Okay. That's a fun question. All right. I see you there. Okay. Brick City. Yeah, I see you. Orlando, Florida. Oh, Missy is here. I'm doing another quick check-in. Missy Barnes, I hope I'm not putting you on too much blast, but there are healers in this world, and massage therapists are among them. And there's a great healer that I had the fortune of interacting with. And her name is Missy Barnes, and she's in Orlando, Florida. She showed up on camera on the Zoom show. I see you on the YouTube now, Missy. Thank you. She gave me some advice recently. So yeah, I know things are hard in Florida still because you don't have a real governor. Sorry about that. But look, we don't have a real president, so we're all in the same club. But shout out to you, Missy. Thank you for being here. Braden killed it. I see your comments there. Yeah, Laura G on YouTube says vote early, vote often. I think that was another beautiful sentiment from the DNC. Just let's get tactical. They don't want you to vote. The proverbial they, which in this case are the people in power, which in this case is an authoritarian president and his Republican Party enablers, who should be wiped from the face of electoral politics for a good season, forced to sit in the corner, stare at the wall, and think about what they've done. If I were in charge, that's what I would do. I'd be like, you just sit this one out. I want you to stand in the dunce corner, put this little hat on, think about what you've done while we govern and try to clean up your mess. So yeah, the calls to, so yeah, they exist and they are against us all. And they're afraid of competition, even though they're the party of free markets. Like, it's a very ironic thing. If you're a Republican and you're watching this, like, thank you. And I got love for you as a human being, but I don't understand the thesis here. Like, I don't understand the alleged principles of being like for the free market and then being afraid of consumers. Like, that is what is going on with the voting system in this country. You got a party premised on market competition and let the people decide, except when it comes to your job, right? Like, you're for competition for everybody except yourself. Once you have power, that's not a that's not a competitive marketplace. So you can't fly this big banner of competition and then be afraid to compete. In a healthy and real market, you drag your vote fearing ass out into the marketplace and compete for my vote, not try to make it harder for me to vote. You know what I'm saying? Like, you pitch your product against your competitor and let's go. Let's do this. Unless, of course, you don't actually believe those things and they're just convenient things to say when you want to enrich yourself rather than create an economy that enriches all of us. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's the problem. You know, maybe you don't actually believe in shit. But, you know, I give you a chance. Give you a chance to show me. But beliefs are useless if you don't behave according to them. Then they're just words. So this whole voter suppression thing and making it hard to vote and, you know, the president's tactic, I don't think he's very intelligent, but he has a deep, dark emotional intelligence, which he knows the value of attention, shifting it, and he knows the value of chaos. And I think his large mission is just to sow chaos and doubt. Whether or not he's pulling strings for the Postmaster General and DeJoy and planned, doesn't matter. He says it, and then people report on it, and then we're talking about it, and then we're more exhausted, and then I get more gray hairs in my beard. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm 42 years old. I know I don't look 42 because apparently, like, a witch doctor before I was born was like, black will never crack. But this president gave me mad grays. I'm like, the president is supposed to be the one to get gray and white hair, not the constituents. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is like Obama turned gray. This president has turned slightly less orange, and the rest of us are looking like Gandalf the White. That is not how this is supposed to work. So that is a tool of his to exhaust us, to age us prematurely, and to get us distracted. But I appreciated the DNC's focus on texting vote to 30330. Like, it's in my head. Text vote to 30330. And make a plan. Just work harder. You think our ancestors didn't have people making it hard for them? Like, on the one hand, I'm annoyed. I'm offended. I'm disgusted by the efforts to make it harder for people to vote. On the other, I mean, I get to drink out of this fancy glass. Like, things could be worse. And I am not being bullwhipped. And I am not being specifically poll tested to name all the capitals. And people who are alive today were. So I'll take the progress. And I get you're trying to make it hard for me to vote. And it turns out I care enough that you can't stop me. You can't stop me. So what? Do your worst. I know my power. And again, bringing it back to Obama, like he put a point on it, the same point we make in my new podcast, How to Citizen with Baratunde. We, the people, got the power. Now remember that song? I got the power. It's getting kind of hectic, right? It is getting kind of hectic, but we have the power. So let them exhaust themselves trying to exhaust us. And we keep our eyes on the prize. And we make a plan. Wherever you live, figure it out. There are so many places that let you know what the deadlines are and when you can request a ballot and when you can sign. Just check your registration, figure out what's up in your state, and do it. And then get your whole crew to do it too. And talk about it. If you ever posted a picture of your cocktail or a sandwich, if you've ever posted a photo of yourself on the internet, that you have what it takes to help your friends and families and even your frenemies vote. So when you figure out what your voting deadline situation is, do a little screenshot and post it to your socials. Make that shit pop. Make that a meme. You know, like I've done a lot of duck face. You know, if you've duck faced, then you could democracy. You know what I'm saying? You could citizen. So take your duck face skills and apply it to your citizen self. And if you can't vote, help somebody who can. And if you can vote, vote for somebody who can't. It's pretty simple. So, all right. Whoo-wee. I think I'm a little fired up. Okay. Let's see what else is in the basket. Daniel Zoller threw this question up on the IG side of things. What's a bigger red flag for dating? COVID risk or being a Trump voter? I'm going to let y'all take that in the comments. A bigger red flag for dating. You worried about getting the COVID or somebody being a Trump voter? I mean, my answer is Trump voter. Because COVID, you can mitigate your own exposure and risk. You could double mask, you could N95 and then put that behind like a cloth mask. And like there's ways. But the Trump voter thing, I don't know what your recourse is. Unless, and this is less about dating and more about covert ops. If you find yourself in the universe of Trumpness in a romantical type situation, then I consider you an agent. And I'm going to give you a special assignment. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to gather intelligence from our opponents, find the weak spots, and exploit them. At the highest level, your objective is to turn them, of course. Bring them to our side, bring them to the light. But if that is not possible, then you want to limit the damage they can do. So every moment they spend with you is a moment they are not spreading conspiracy QAnon nonsense. So you got to stick to them like glue, like white on rice or black on rice, because there's other types of rice, like brown on basmati rice or different colors on wild rice. The point is you got to be with them, because when you're with them, they're not destroying our democracy. But again, this is not about dating anymore. You recognize this is a special mission that I've assigned you because you found yourself in the range. And especially if they live in a swing state, you just want to sing lullabies, go on long walks. You want to keep them on FaceTime. And then when the battery dies, switch over to Zoom on your laptop. You want to co-watch Netflix with family on that website. You want to spend as much time with them as you can. Because every minute you spend with them is a minute they're not undermining the entire premise of self-government. And then when the election's over, you can let them do what they're going to do. I don't care at that point. And maybe with all that exposure, they will recognize your humanity and the good times they have, and they will realize, like, oh my goodness, I had so much fun with this libtard. Maybe they're not a libtard. Maybe they're a human being. Maybe I was like a little off. Maybe I was hanging out in 4chan too much. And now that I'm in the real world with a real human being, I'm going to check myself before I wreck myself. It's bad for my health. Thank you, Daniel, for the question. All right. Let's see what else we got. I know it's a tough mission, but people don't come to me for easy answers. All right, all right. Let's see what else we got. All right, I'm gonna go to IG. It's just a little more to contain. I'm sorry for those posting things in comments on the other territories. Um, okay. From a very fun username, HMJ. I haven't seen you in a bit. Talk about composting because it's revolutionary, Baratunde. Be very quick on this one. Composting is revolutionary. This show brought to you by the word composting. We're working through the C's. Cumulative, contextually, now composting. I love that I didn't plan any of this, but there was a plan, and I'm just living inside of it. Go to elizabethwarren.com/plan/plans. Seriously, this show brought to you by composting because that is keeping me sane. It's magic. Composting is magic. Like the more I do it, the more I'm like, this is alchemy. I'm a wizard. Or I'm just like wizardry is happening and I'm a witness. I don't know. But you just put stuff in this bucket and then you turn it. And I put all kinds of stuff in there. I like the broccoli I done chopped when I'm playing my throwback SNL chopping broccoli, like that goes in there. Eggshells, compost it. Now, I don't put meat in. I'm not a freak. I can't put cheese or citrus in there. Like I'm keeping it base level. I'm now on the hibachi joint, but I throw mad stuff in there, like mad stuff. And I just turn it and I check back in like a week or a month, or I don't even, time doesn't mean anything in COVID. So I just know it was after, like I put the stuff in the magic box. And then at some point after, I open the box and there's like magic soil. It's incredible. It's incredible. Here's what I want you to think about. We got a lot of parts of our society that we consider waste. And we're just not using it right. Like I started off like, oh, composting is magic. It is magic. Like everything we need to know, we already know. Every bit of knowledge we need access to, we have access to. It's in the earth. It's in the earth. Like for me, here's what composting has been. I get my hands dirty. I get off these screens. I'm surrounded by like 30 screens. You see the lights. Like I got this beautiful ring light, but it's not natural. And then I make food and I make smoothies and I chop up the banana peel and I just throw it in this little container on the kitchen counter. And a couple times a week, I go throw it in the magic box out back and I turn it. I feel like an Amish, like I'm churning compost. I could turn it. And it becomes magic soil, which brings life to the tomatoes, to the lemon tree, to the eggplants, to the squash. Everything has a use. And that's the magic and the beauty of compost. And it's not actually that hard. We just have to recognize the value and step into a process waiting for us. Waiting for us. I didn't add any extra fertilizer, no chemicals. I didn't invest in like some big farmer. I put random shit in a box and I turned it. So like that is an elemental lesson, right? It's like, okay, that's the principle. The things we see as waste are actually life-giving. And it's just kind of magic, just like, it's kind of cool to just open the box up and just be like, ooh, what you gonna look like today, compost? And sometimes like flies jump out. I'm like, oh, I didn't put a fly in there. Where did you come from? So it's not always beautiful, the process. But the result of the process which is food, which I love. Do you like food? I like food. So zoom out from the dirt and the banana peels and the tomato leftovers or whatever. And think about the people we've thrown away. Think about the millions behind bars right now because we didn't have use for them, because they made a mistake, because somebody lied on them and got them caught up, because some supposed protector and server and shield-bearing, gun-toting, unaccountable law enforcement person lied on them and got them locked up. Or they really did something bad and something wrong. Okay, great. Now what? Do we just throw them in the garbage, contribute to landfill, generate more waste and heat and pain and trauma for our world? Or do we bring them back into the fold? Do we find use for them? Do we convert on that pain and that trauma and that ill and that sin and give new life to the communities that they're going to come back to one way or the other? It's regeneration. It's not just for soil. It's for all of us. That's a little bit I call composting. It ain't just for dirt. It's for all of us. I really appreciate the question. All right. Yeah, I appreciate that. All right, let's see. We're going to run out of time on the IG. So let me give a heads up to the folks watching the IG live, because Instagram likes to limit me. I don't like to be limited. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm an infinite being. I am a star in a universe of stars. Right? We're all burning brightly here. But apparently there's limits on Instagram. So they're going to give me like a little countdown. They're going to be like, you got to wrap it up or we're going to delete your shit. So if you are watching me on IG, I'm going to keep the stream going after on YouTube and Facebook and Twitch and whatever Twitter calls its live streaming thing. For some reason, they still call it Periscope. Why don't you just call it Twitter Live, you dummies? Ooh. Oh, that's so not good. So you can, when this feed drops, I'll be over here for the after show. I'm almost out of mystery liquid. Now I'm out. I love y'all. All right, let's go. Let me check the comments. I've been privileging my IG live people, and I just want, for my Facebook fam, for my YouTube fam, for my Twitch fam, I see you too, and I'm gonna check in with y'all real quick. John Holtz on Periscope says, looking forward to your chat with Kara next week. I didn't even tell y'all. I'm so excited. And I cannot hide it. I'm lucky. I am lucky. I'm healthy. I keep thinking I got COVID and then I don't got it. And that's great. And I got a test 2 weeks ago and it came back negative. I share my experience with some of y'all. Next week, I will be guest hosting the Pivot podcast with the Kara Swisher. Twice. Yes. Your boy coming up in the game. We're going to go in on these tech platforms. It's going to be real. It's going to be fun. It's going to be live. Well, not live, but it'll be very direct. So thank you, John Holtz, for sharing that with me. Siobhan Marie on IG shouts out something because I get the countdown on Instagram right now. I got a minute and a half on IG, and then I'll just be with you here. Feminist on Cell Block Y is an incredible documentary about smashing the patriarchy from within. So I should watch that since I am within the patriarchy, if you couldn't tell. So I appreciate the content recommendations. I keep hitting my mic. Very unprofessional. Oh, my Twitch stopped streaming. Okay. You cannot find me on Twitch. See what I'm saying? They come after you. They come after you when you speak truth. So this is why I simulcast. So I'm going to talk on everything that they let me talk on. YouTube, I think, is still live. Facebook is still live. Periscope is still live. I will be back. No live on lockdown this Sunday to my Zoomers. But I will be back next week, probably on another special Friday, because I got to watch the Proud Boy Smash Fest that is the RNC next week. It's going to be, it's going to be terrible, right? Like, it's going to be a hot authoritarian mess. But I need to understand the opponents, so I will torture myself and do some stretches and some planks. I'm going to shut down the IG stream. Love y'all. Great. Share the IG. And I'm still live with you. You know what? I didn't really like the IG. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to talk trash about them. But let me just get this thing posted. Next. Live on lockdown special. Share. Add to series. Y'all are like behind the scenes. Post. All right. So that's happening. Clear the stage. And now it's just us. Just me and my decolonizer shirt. So what's up? Periscope for the win. I see you, YouTube. I see you. Stephen Matlock. No. I'm not closing out. Are you the same Stephen Matlock from the live joint I did earlier this week, and you asked a question about metrics. I hope that's you. How many Stephen Matlocks could there be? If that is you, I appreciate that. I'll wait for you to show up in the chat, and I'll check in with some other people. But obviously I love the Matlock name. Donald Dula is up here on Facebook. I see you, Donald. Ooh, okay. So Donald's got a really interesting question. We met some time ago at a dialogue session in New Jersey. That was definitely a long time ago. I haven't been in New Jersey in a long time. I'm not really welcome in the state anymore. I can't get into the details, but I live on the West Coast for many reasons. He says, you discussed the DNC's collective theme for votes. What do you think we can request collectively to move the needle forward in our progress in reparations? This has been a current conversation with Blacks. Yeah, how to move the reparations conversation forward. I got some ideas on that, Donald. Trying to see if I can show them to you. It's too much work to try to change the tech. Point being, the conversation about reparations is needed, and probably more than a conversation. Like actual reparations would be pretty cool too, but I think it takes a while to get there. And one of the ways that I have been thinking about it and talking about it is it's just about debt. It's about debt, and this country, has a debt that has been generated over hundreds of years through not just forced labor and uncompensated labor, but through explicit exclusion from the rights of citizenship. Life, liberty, pursuit of happiness formally, by law. The inability to purchase a house in many places where home values would grow. The inability to get qualified for a loan and thus have money cost us more. That's dollars and cents. That's not like a theoretical apologetic thing. That's money. And there's so many ways that we can look at the economic situation of Black America. And we've had generations of putting it just on Black people. Oh, you got this pathology. You don't know how to manage your money. You don't have discipline. You just got to work harder and work smarter at the same time. Like they tell in general, work smarter, not harder. They tell us work smarter and work harder. So there is a quantifiableness in there to stolen wealth and the inability of a people based on their race to generate wealth. Not even going back to 1619, just from 1919, in almost the lifetimes of some people still here. And so I think the framing, can be useful to think about what is the size of that debt? Let's come up with a number. So that's one piece. I think, there's another, which is like to make it's a little less personal. Like a lot of, in my experience, a lot of white Americans is like, I didn't do nothing. I didn't own no slaves. Like they don't say it like that. I'm being silly and unfair, but I acknowledge it for the sake of comedy. That's not how all white people sound. But in my head, they're just like, we didn't own no slaves. So it's true. It's true. No white person today owned a slave. But there are outcomes economically, if we just want to limit the scope, that are accessible to many and not others because of race. And it's not about coming and taking your personal shit. Like, I don't want your house. Your house is probably whack. Like, I want a better opportunity to get a house. And we have ways of implementing that. Now I'm just making stuff up. And there are smarter people than me on this. So I'm going to do a little quick joint and then encourage you to read Nicole Hannah-Jones or read Ta-Nehisi and look at what the existing commissions have said about how we could implement this. But I don't own any property, for example. Like, I own this glass, but that's a depreciating asset. You know what I'm saying? Like, I lease a car. I think I own this microphone I'm talking into, but technically, I think my producer friend loaned it to me. I own this shirt, but it's going to turn to rags. So, that's not right. So, as I have been looking at home buying and like what that possibility is, first, insert massive laugh track because everything is crazy expensive. And people who own or have even more wealth now than before the pandemic, which is like really awkward. But then you look at the programs that are available for loans, for how much can you put down for a house. And I'm not talking like subprime, like that is a janky, exploitative, economy exploding system. But I think, we have programs for veterans, we have programs for first-time home buyers. We could have programs for like multi-generationally denied people, multi-generationally economically excluded folks. So maybe something like that. But that's the end of my riff. Again, I'm not expert on it. I'm going to be honest about that and say I haven't gotten into the weeds on the how of reparations. But I do think the way we can talk about it is looking at some of this as a form of debt repayment. Pay your debts like a Lannister. Lannister always pays his debts. So, yeah. Desiree Colantonio says, I'm so glad Misha introduced our fandom to you. You're inspired. Oh, thank you, Desiree. Thank you, Donald, for the question. Let's see. Yes, stolen wealth. Hello, Michelle Morgan from the fiery pits of not Mount Doom, but Northern California. Hello, hello. Thank you. Yes, okay, it is the same Stephen Matlock. Then I really appreciate that. Was such a fun question, and I still love your name. Mandy Panda Weaverling asks, what do you think about people saying they intend to still vote for Bernie in November or writing in a libertarian? So let me be selfish and tactical. If those people live in the state of California or New York, I don't care. If they live in Wisconsin, we got a problem. If they live in Florida, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Georgia, North Carolina, maybe even Texas, we got a problem. And that's where if it's someone I would say like do your best not to like scream on them the way I did in this video today. It was partly entertainment, partly I'm fed up. But like if it's someone you know and care about, then and you have the energy, try to make a case / ask them why. What I find with people who in my orbit who are libertarian, it's like in part it's annoying to me because it's very theoretical. It's like I don't believe in big government. It's like, what is that? Let's get out the clouds here. What does that mean? I get that you read The Fountainhead, but now let's get practical. Do you think that there should not be a government? Do you think we shouldn't have any common space to work out and resolve our conflicts or achieve good on behalf of the community? Or are you just like in a position where if it's hyper individualistic, you're confident you're going to do well because you have a starting point of advantage? And I don't find a lot of like indigenous women libertarians. Like there's not a lot of trans libertarians of color. I don't know any undocumented libertarians who were forced out of the country despite serving in the military because Stephen Miller's Gestapo rounded them up when they were on their way to church. So I think that the brand of libertarianism has an identity challenge where, in my experience, a lot of them are in a luxurious space of not having their life threatened or their position in society threatened. And so in a every man for themselves environment, and it's often men who tout this, they know they're going to do all right because they got this kind of born on third base advantage. They've been taken seriously. They maybe own their property already. They've got a good job. And so the message and the rhetoric of why you don't need the government telling you what to do, you just do what you do. Well, yeah, because the world is designed for you to be able to do what you do. And so if you can build a parallel universe of empathy for them, like imagine what it'd be like if you didn't have these things. If every day of your life somebody was telling you, you don't deserve this, you're not worth it, you're an idiot, that people are making every step in your life harder, you might want some collective investment in your well-being, not just solo investment. And so I am sympathetic in part to libertarianism because I don't want the government doing everything for me either. Like, there's some things that it's bad at. I will acknowledge that. But I think the goal here is a level of general welfare that makes the society safe for all of us, that makes prosperity possible for all of us. Not micromanaging by the government, but like establishment of some basic norms so that we could all potentially thrive. And if, I don't even know who the libertarian candidate is. So if it feels like it's not worth it, then like don't waste your time and just find somebody who agrees with you that isn't registered to vote and get them to register. Because this is all cost benefit. And for every minute you waste on Ayn Rand fan club, you could be talking to 3 people who forgot the deadline and agree with you. And this is a numbers game. So a libertarian would appreciate that because they probably believe in capitalism. And capitalism is all about efficiency. And you got to be efficient with your time. So yeah, thank you for that one. Let's see here. I also wish talk to text, recognize the difference between the word. Oh, okay, I'm missing that one. Victoria Carroll says, just moved to YouTube Live. Could this be the next best way to connect? I see you. I see you, Victoria. Thank you. I've actually never done the handoff before. I've always done this show, like either I've done the Zoom show where we have the studio and I push out to YouTube, etc., but I don't really pay attention to y'all. I just pay attention mostly to the Zoomers. Or I do the IG thing exclusive, and then I'm forced to like wrap it real fast because they only give you an hour, which I appreciate the discipline of it. But it's Friday, and it's a pandemic, and it's been a week, y'all. Like 170,000 of our fellow Americans are dead. Steve Bannon's going to jail. I didn't even get to talk about Bad Santa going to jail. So, there's plenty left. And, I'm happy to talk more about the podcast or whatever. So, Corey Van Dyke, I see you on Periscope, just here to learn. Thank you for showing up. And if you're here and you're having a good time, the other thing I would ask as an experiment, because I'm not like a pro streamer. I mean, I got a pro camera now. You see that. I've tried to step up my game from my early Logitech webcams. But, while you're in this, like, share it out. Let's see if that brings more people. Tell your friends. There's a cool party over here. This dude Baratunde's sort of drunk and going in. It's Friday at 5 p.m. What am I going to do? It's 8 p.m. East Coast. And it's like 10 p.m. in Europe. If you're in Europe, like, what's up? So, yeah, Michelle Morgan, it's 1,000 Americans a day. We're still there. And I didn't listen to Osterholm's podcast this week. And I like to try to capture him before I go live so I can synthesize some of what he says. But I always rep Michael Osterholm's podcast. It's called the Osterholm Update. It's wherever you get podcasts. And I'm dying to hear what he has to say about where we're at. Because I check in the New York Times homepage every day. And I just got like a meter now. I'm like, okay, 49,000 reported new cases and 1,000 deaths. That was what I saw earlier today. So we're still in like this hot zone, 1,000 deaths a day. That's some April numbers, so I don't know. I feel exhausted even thinking about that. Thank you, Mrs. T.D. Drakes. I remember you from earlier, as in like 3 months or years ago. Who knows? Sarah Satheba Pruto on YouTube. I see you says, hitting our unhoused people so badly here in Sacramento, especially in this heat wave. Yeah, I can't even imagine. As I moved to, I mentioned this earlier on the IG, on the earlier stream, but like, I'm new to California. And I know that you can read headlines about like income inequality and wealth inequality and a housing crisis. And I can experience it from my relatively privileged position of like, this 1-bedroom apartment in Brooklyn is really expensive. Or this house we're renting in Highland Park is really expensive. And I can also pay for it. So I'm not suffering like that. And then like you see tent cities and the underpasses and the overpasses for the highway entrance and exit ramps and going to downtown LA. And, my fiance had a business in downtown for a long time and like, she's more connected to the arts district here in LA. And you're just like, how does this this doesn't work. It goes back to my earlier thing about why I voted for Bernie, because I just saw he like saw the Matrix, and he's like, oh, this is all bullshit, but we can tweak it, we can reprogram it, and so I like that. Biden, certainly a better opportunity than the current president to see that Matrix and reprogram it, and I hope that we take that chance, in this desperate moment of all these crises, to relook at what housing even is. It's so embarrassing to be in a country with all this money, to have more billionaires than anybody else, to have more super yachts. Steve Bannon was arrested on a yacht. Like, really, dude? Really, Mr. Man of the People? Like, you're going down for mail fraud? You got arrested by a postal law enforcement officer? Like, come on. On exiled Chinese billionaire's yacht. Those are the people. That's your real people. Like, he looks with contempt on all these people he claims to represent. He's never down for the homies or the Appalachian people. Like, it's all a lie. But the Sacramento thing, thank you for sharing that. Because in a state as wealthy as California, we don't even have to go full America. This state is just sitting on all the money. You look at, what is it, 40% of the, I don't remember if it's the NASDAQ or the Dow Jones, but 40% of the value of one of those exchanges is captured by Microsoft, Amazon, Facebook, Google. 40%. Because every other company is like, and where are all those companies based? Heavily California, and then Amazon up in Washington State, plus Mars. Don't forget Mars. So we have the resources. We just have not allocated them reasonably. So we should, somebody should fix that. Okay. Susan Simcoe on Facebook says, too many vets on the streets here, many with mental health problems. Yep, that's true. It's another thing that I really loved about Biden's talk. He's everything the current president isn't. He's actually emotionally invested in the armed services. His son both served. That's not, the current president is a joke. It's a very bad joke, but it's an actual and authentic joke. So let's do this. Let's get this done. Joshua Bimbane. Seeing you here. Okay. Oh, Melanie Jones, I'm glad you checked out Oster Holmes podcast. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Oh, Sarah says, Proto. What did I, of course, man, I study French at fancy college. Of course it's Proto. Sarah Proto. Oh, it's because I haven't traveled. I need to travel. If I had traveled out of America, but I can't go nowhere because they blocked us everywhere because we're a shambles. All right, I'm just making sure I see you. What else we got? When I moved, Victoria Carroll, when I moved from the East Coast to California, Bay Area, I was traumatized. California dreaming is a myth. Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? All right, I'm just checking in with my mind to see if there's anything else that I had on my mind to want to share, because I kind of moved so fast through the IG version. Hit the DNC, talk about the podcast, did a Whiskey Friday, COVID, fire. Topher! I see you. Oh, classic. There's still a little bit left in here. Yeah. Good. Topher. It's good to see you. It's good to see you. I don't see you, but I see that you're here, and it just reminds me of good times. Remember traveling, says Sarah? I do remember traveling. Here's something. So I put all my photos everywhere because I don't know which of these companies is going out of business, and I'm like a little anal retentive when it comes to data redundancy. So like I want to organize all my data in a way that I don't organize my physical space. Like if you saw this room outside the shot, it'd be like, what is going on with this dude? So I got my photos in Apple with the Apple Photos thing, and it's fine. It's cool. It's on the devices. And then I gave my photos to Google because Google's like, oh, yo, we got like all that email. Like we're using it to help you identify your photos. and like every ad that's ever run in the history of ads, we're using that to help you organize your photos. So I'm like, go nuts, Google. So Google gets my photos, Dropbox gets my photos. And so I logged into Google Photos today, and they give you like, everybody copies everybody's things. So they have like story photos. It looks like IG stories, which I think is something they stole from Snapchat. It's all plagiarism. So they're like there's a story for 1 year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. It's like the count on Sesame Street. It's like 5 years ago. And so I'm just like reliving. I'm like, oh, I remember when I used to go places. That was exciting. It was pretty cool to like be at a spot that wasn't home. And it was a shot in New York in this part of Brooklyn. I was walking by my friend's place. And then there was something in like Paris. Like I went to Paris. I used to go to other countries. So it's really nice. I want to do that again. I want to go somewhere for good reasons, though, not for like exile reasons. I want to go of my own free will because I have a stable nation to return to on the other side. And the world has gotten control of this pandemic, and it's cool again. And I am so like, the sort of like near pornographic memories I have of just like eating food in another nation or in a different city. It's amazing. The first, Elizabeth and I went and dined out for her birthday. We went to a below average restaurant in this town in California called Ojai, Ojai. We didn't even go there on purpose. We just drove west. We're like, let's see where the car wants to go. And we ended up there, and we do the little Google Maps thing. And I'm trying to, like, I like to optimize. I'm going through they got 4.6 ratings versus 4.3. The data says we should go to this, what ended up being a very below average. I mean, this food was not good. It wasn't great, but it tasted so good. It was outdoor. There was a nice breeze. We were masked up. The wine was average, but it was the best wine ever because somebody else poured it. You know, the last time I had wine from somebody whose face I'm not intimately familiar with was March 9th, specifically March 9th, actually March 8th in New York City before the hammer came down. That was the last time I had wine from somebody pouring it that wasn't my hand or the one human I've lived with since March 11th. So it was just great. It was the most average California wine. I'm like, this is the best. Take this, France. You have nothing on the Ojai sewer wine. This is the best sewer wine I have ever had. I do not even know what you do. More sewer wine for me, please. Oh, monsieur, the wine. And can I get some more of the, how do you say, the fish and chips? The fish and chips? Give me some more of the fish and chips and the average marinara. I would like the average marinara for my shrimp cocktail. It is so average, but it is so beautiful because I didn't cook it and I didn't carry it. It just magically, it shows up. It's like a magic place. Ojai, in Ojai. I lost my shit. It was amazing. So yeah, to travel. That was an ad for traveling. Yeah, it's true. My drink is gone. So here's what I'm gonna say. We've been running. I don't have a clock anymore to fully know, but I think we've been going for like an hour and a half. If there's anything else you want to say to each other, like the stream is up, please keep chatting. If there's anything you want to ask me or demand that I address, use it. Or if there's anything you just want to say to me, now's the time. Because I think within the next 5, I'm going to shut this down and eat food that maybe I'll order. the food from another. Tanya! Hello, cuz. Good to see you. Good to see you. And my soul Parker, give me the 83 minutes. That's how long we've been saying. All right. Good. Yeah, cook your lady something special. I hope she's not watching this. That is not a promise. That is a suggestion from someone I don't even know to cook you. She gonna be like, but see what you did is you inserted yourself, Victoria, into my relationship because now you left like evidence. And if Elizabeth, she's gonna be like, well, Carol said you should cook me something special. And I know you like to be responsive to your YouTube audience. So why don't you respond your way into the kitchen? So that's all on the record now. It's been a pleasure. Please make sure you're registered. Please make sure the people you love and care about are registered to vote. Have a plan. Check it twice, like Santa was coming to town. And I will be back probably next Friday to do a Republican National Convention, aka Nazi wrap up, and my take on that. And my podcast will drop the first episodes on Thursday, August 27th. So subscribe now so it shows up in your feed. We'll hit you with a double episode. The first guests on this show, like, I am proud of this show and the people that we're getting. And it's not that they're famous or like, you know, they're amazing and they should be famous. And so I hope that they will become more famous because of this show and your attention to it. And we're involving you. We tape the show live. So if you want to be in the live tapings of the show, go to my website, baratunde.com, sign up for my emails, or shoot me a text, 202-894-8844. And text me with the word citizen. And then I'll send out alerts and invites for the tapings because I don't like to spam people. So if I know you're interested, I'll hit you. Otherwise, I'm going to try to be a little more respectful with it. All right. I think we're done. 1,700 hours, 26 minutes. I'm Baratunde Thurston. This has been Live on Lockdown, episode 37. A very special edition with extended special hours for my people on YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, and for some unknown reason, not Twitch, which I'm like, I don't understand that Twitch is owned by Amazon. I feel like I've been good to Amazon, but let me dig into the tech. Maybe I sent too high a bit stream or something. It's hard out here in these self-produced streets. It's hard. Much love to y'all.